It just sounds like
Some
locusts in
wheels
the
are turning,
background
or
somewhere.
locusts or
Yeah.
something, or it might be your heating and air system.
Yeah, actually, I have it off right now.
Okay, so it's not your
I'll
Hmm.
heating
trade
and air
that.
system.
No, it's his gerbil. He's got a gerbil just running, bro. It's just
Gerbils
Yeah,
running around in circles.
just going laps. Yeah.
Hello, Chris here with another episode of the Make It podcast, and this is an Indie Talk week, and that means I have my podcasting partner with me, Nicholas Bucks, as well as our esteemed guest, producer, director, Mike Day. Mike, say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, we're super
Yeah, it's good
excited to have
man.
you here. We got a lot to chat about, and I'd be remiss if I didn't turn it back to you, Nick, to say hello to the audience as well. Say what's up.
Yeah, well, usually we have to battle it out with the guest. See, Mike, you came on a couple episodes in where before Chris would just be like, Mike, Nick, say hello, and then we had to figure out who's going to say hello. And it's like, and I, of
Yeah.
course, most of the times I would win that battle. Because
Yeah.
but
makes
Chris has
sense.
learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Chris has learned we don't need any blood in the water anymore. We don't need me going up against the guest. So this is much more cordial. So I appreciate that, Chris. Thank you.
Yes. Of course, we want this podcast for our guests to be a warm blanket after a long day. You lay on it. It comforts you, it supports you. That's what we're here to do. So before we get too deep into the the wonderment we have prepared for this audience, Mike, do you mind sort of running down your resume for us a little bit? Tell us a little bit about your background, what we should know you for, what you're working on now, what you're excited about.
Yeah. So quick snapshot. My background. Ever since college, I got into film right away as like a PA, and wanted to produce, and got into accounting to learn the numbers. And then after 10 plus years of that, leveraged that experience into producing, and got to do films like The Kill Room that just came out like a year or two ago, and Rare Objects with Katie Holmes. And then from there, with this company I've been working with, I got to start directing my own feature films. And my first one, Clawfoot, just came out 3 weeks ago. That's now available on Apple and all streaming services. So I'm super excited to have my first feature out. And then, I'm in post right now on my second feature, which has like John Cusack in it, and that's going to come out later this year. So real excited about that one now too.
So cool.
And that's called Fog of War, right?
And that one's Fog of War, yeah.
Got it. Is there another movie called Fog of War?
There's another indie one. Yeah, because it's a phrase, like a psychological phrase for people like, coming out of war, they kind of get trapped in their heads in the past of it all. So there's definitely some shorts in another feature I saw with that same title, but didn't stop us from using it.
That's right. And it's been a while too for some of the shorts, and I don't think anything that's really risen to the top like yours, hopefully will. Yeah. So I think, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. John Cusack is an interesting lead in this. He's had made a lot of headlines politically of late. So I think what that means is that you're going to have a base of people who just go see it because he's in it. And he has a sort of a growing fan base. If you guys ever want a really good follow John Cusack on X, and he's quite prolific on there.
Not afraid to speak his mind.
definitely not afraid to speak his mind. And it's crazy because how many people are in the creative world, how many people want to be in film, also how many people are actually in film. You still kind of find that Pareto's law plays a role, right? Like there's 20% that are really, really active in doing it. And because of an 80% that are trying or are not quite doing it. And because of that, the universe gets a lot smaller. Because you mentioned Rare Objects, and our buddy and former guest Mark Maxey, I think, produced Rare Objects.
Oh my God, yeah. I know Mark well. I love Mark. I've done a few movies with him actually. We did another one, Dustin Hoffman, and I talk to him all the time. Still, he's a great guy.
Yeah, Mark Maxey is a great guy, and shout out to you, Mark, if you're listening or watching. Me and him got to hang out at Produced By. I think a month and a half ago. And the first thing I thought because I had never met Mark in person, like I just talked to him on the phone a bunch and like we did a podcast or whatever, but I'd never really seen him in person. And the first thing I'm like, oh my God, this dude is gigantic.
He's a tall guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you're like, oh, wow, looking up. And it's
like he's not that much taller than me. I think he might be an inch taller than me, but it's like I just didn't expect him to be as tall as me, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. It's so good. So you really do have to meet people. Then you get a sense of them as a person. But he was super cool. And we got to talk there a little bit, see what each one of us are up to and how we can help each other. And it just goes to show, like, you never know who you're going to meet. Be nice to everybody. And as much as you spread your wings in independent film or in film in general, eventually you're going to run into somebody who worked with somebody that you know pretty well. 7 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon or whatever sort of thing.
Right. I mean, and with him, like he did a Kevin Bacon movie, so there's just one with him now.
Is it true that does Kevin and his wife is Kira, right?
Kira Sedgwick,
Kira Sedgwick, yeah. They live in Nashville, right?
Oh, honestly, I don't know actually. Yeah.
I swear I saw Kevin Bacon's wife at a comedy show one night.
Oh,
yeah, and I kind of turned to my wife and said, "Hey, that's Kira Sedgwick over there."
Yeah, hey, that girl right there, check her out.
Yeah,
that's Kira Sedgwick.
Yeah.
She
so I didn't know if they lived here or just in town.
She just flew in for the weekend.
Yeah,
well, I know they have some country music. They have some country music, like folk influence. They do music, I think Kevin Bacon's got a band that's pretty good.
Yeah, actually. I believe so. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, sidebar over. It's cool that you did Rare Objects. It's cool that you did all those films. But we know that your background in a lot of films and coming up as a producer was sort of running accounting and being that trusted custodian of the money flows to the set and back out of the set. And before we hop into talking about Clawfoot and Fog of War in detail and sort of why those movies, why that cast, why that story, I'd love for you to give this audience full of independent filmmakers and hopefuls a sense of what is meant a Hollywood accounting and some of the maybe inside baseball things you noticed sort of managing those money flows for so many years and for so many big films. And by the way, we're talking about films like Top Gun Maverick, The Dark Knight Rises, Malignant, Iron Man 3. So these are the biggest movies. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, so I've been very fortunate where like I got to work on like some of the biggest Hollywood movies, on like Transformers 4 and 5 as well. Like, yeah, I mean, I look back at my resume like, holy shit, how'd that happen? It's like I'm still pinching myself, like getting to sit in a Batmobile. Like, never thought that would happen, but
so cool.
Yeah, but so like I said, like I got into accounting just because I wanted to learn producing, and I'll never forget actually. I was interviewing, this was on the movie I Am Number 4. We were shooting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I just graduated college, and I went to interview, and the lady's like, this sounds good, you have enough experience, but she's like, so what do you want to do? I was like, oh, actually, I want to produce. And she's like, oh, you should go interview for accounting. She's like, if you want to produce, that's the way to do it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'll take your advice. I asked the lady, I interviewed with the lady, and she's like, well, what accounting experience do you have? I said, well, I took a class in college, that's about it. And she goes, well, how'd you do? I said, well, if we're being honest, I paid someone to take the final for me. It was taken. I don't know anything about it. I don't know why. I was just like brutally honest that day. And I remember I paid my buddy $300. It was take home. I was like, hey, I don't understand any of this. Because I barely went to that class. I was like, I'm going for film, not accounting.
She was like, you're going to be great in Hollywood. Yeah. Like, let's go.
Yeah. And then so she hired me right there on the spot. And then I did a handful of movies with her. And like this accountant, she did like Gladiator back in the day. She did like the biggest studio films.
Oh, wow.
And she's a force to be reckoned with. And so I just learned so much from her. And so that was then my first entrance into accounting. And what you really quickly learn is it's not like, I don't do my own taxes. You're not like a CPA. Anyone can really learn it. And I think that's what I realized after the fact was you're just cost accounting. It's like, hey, we have $1 million to spend in this one department. They've spent 500,000. That means they have 500,000 left to spend, and you just kind of keep track of it. And you're like, oh, okay, well, it looks like they're spending more than they said they would sooner. So does that mean we're going to be over, or if they're spending less, are we going to be under, or are there more bills coming? So you're really just balancing the checkbook essentially every day, and it's just, and that gets especially really hairy on like the bigger ones like Transformers, where like all of a sudden special effects comes in with like a $500,000 purchase order that you weren't expecting. So it's like, oh, they got to let the producers know, hey, like this is $500,000. Was that approved? And you quickly find out, oh yeah, we've been talking about this for the past few weeks. That's fine. Or then every once in a while they're like, nope, don't know anything about that. What the hell's that? And then you have to like do the research, figure it out, see is it worth spending that, try to get cheaper, and then just really just try to save, pinch every penny, and just account for where they all go, and just make sure it's all being accounted for and you're up to date on the spend. Because that's the other thing is you just never. I mean, they spend money so fast, it's insane. And that's really the most important job is just being constantly up to date with the spend of how much has been spent this week, how much is spent today, and how much are we anticipating to spend next week. Because it's not like there's just a bank account, Transformers is like a $200+ million movie. It's not like there's a bank account with just 200 million sitting in there. It's constantly getting funded as you need it, because that money's sitting somewhere else making interest. Like it's not going to make money.
Yeah.
So the money's always making money. So they don't want to give it to us till we absolutely need it. And so that's kind of like.
And I got a question for you on that one. On a film,
it's held in an escrow account. Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably even before that. It's probably still in their investment accounts, and then it goes to the escrow account. But I was going to ask, on a film that size, do you have like separate departments that have separate accountants in order to make sure you're keeping track, or is it still just maybe one or two people managing it for the entire project? I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of ins and outs. I mean, if you watch the credits on a film of that size, you just can only imagine the number of people who are billing against that film, right? Of course, there's companies, but there's individuals. So like, how many accountants would there be on a film of that size?
Yeah. So like, let's say, like on like the Transformers, or even in Top Gun, you have like a team of about like a core team of about like 10 to 15 people. And you have the controller, and that's like the head accountant that just oversees everything. And they're the ones that are dealing directly with the line producer. And the line producer, he's the person that's, producing the movie, but also just keep it all on budget as well, and just tracking the costs with the other producers. And so it's just a really like a structured tier system. Few departments do have their own like dedicated accountant. So like for instance, like on Transformers, we had like a special effects accountant, and so she handled all of the accounting just for anything special effects related. Would go to her. That was just because that department was so big within itself that it made sense to have someone dedicated to it. And the same with construction. But then they still kind of fall under the tier of the core accounting team, and so we kind of all still work together, but they only focus on that. Whereas like me, I might be focused on wardrobe, props, set dressing, production, camera rentals. Like I'm looking at many more departments. That's because those, are a lot more simpler compared to the special effects, which is just like a black hole of spending and gadgets and stuff they're building and explosions and stuff.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's also like, I think Chris, this is probably the first time we've ever heard someone say that the entryway to producing was accounting. Honestly, I don't know that I've ever heard it. It's really cool. And I think it's, as Chris and I have talked about before, it's so smart, right? As a producer, that's one of the main things you want to know is you basically manage the money flow, understand how that works. And those skills will help you in all the other things that you're doing as a producer, because that's where the rubber meets the road, is where the money comes in and goes out. So it's great that you got that insight so early in your career. I mean, it's just, man, I don't know how many times you've thanked this woman since she gave you that job, but wow.
Seriously. I mean, it seriously changed everything. And I mean, it all goes back to that, that lady saying, like learn accounting. And then ironically, maybe it was maybe 8 or 9 years later, I was doing accounting on Zoolander 2, and that one was awesome because I got to go live in Rome for like 4.5 months.
Dude,
it was that's awesome. So much fun. And you're also just working on like a hilarious movie with a great cast. It was a blast. But so when that finished, I knew the producer and his assistant on that really well. Yeah. And she was getting married and have a family, so she's going to get out of the business. And so I emailed her right away. I said, hey, I only did accounting to get into producing. I feel like, I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. Like I really want to try making that transition. And so he emailed me back within a minute, and it felt like I want to be your assistant or whatever. And so he emailed me back within a minute. He's like, hey, call me as soon as you can. So I call him up, and this is Clayton Townsend, producer of these huge movies. And he's like, so you want to be my assistant? I was like, yeah. He's like, you want to get into producing? I was like, yeah. He's like, and you're doing accounting right now? I was like, yeah. He's like, stay there. He's like, I promise you. He's like, just keep building, just keep doing bigger and bigger movies. Just keep rising the ranks. He's like, I'll make, if you want to be my assistant, job's yours. You can have it tomorrow, start tomorrow. I don't care. He's like, but if you really want to be a good producer, he's like, I promise you, just stay in there a little longer, get a little, like, do bigger movies, just keep going with it. And so I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. So I was like, the second person told me to stick with accounting.
Yep.
And so I stuck it out for like another 5 or 6 years. And again, like, yeah, I mean, I was looking back, like, he was right. Like, I wasn't ready to jump into producing. Like, I was like very naive to think I was ready at that point. And that extra 5 or 6 years really helped. Like, I learned so much more after that. And I'm so grateful that he told me to stick with it.
So cool, man.
Are you making a delineation between line producing and producing there when you say you were naive to believe you were ready to produce? Which version of producer? Because there is some nebula there, right, between those.
Yeah,
especially when we see it on the credits.
Yeah, so I'd say like a line producer is specific. Like the next transition step for me from accounting would be line producer, because the line producer's job is to control the budget with the accountant. So that it's almost like a marriage between the two. And so that would be inherently the next step for me to leverage into that position. So that for sure, like I definitely was, like, I wasn't ready for that, but even on a grander producer level, on the creative side and just managing a whole crew, I 100% was nowhere near ready for that. Like,
that's what I was curious about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if it was like $1 million, if it was like a really low budget, like a Napoleon Dynamite type movie, I probably could have faked it through as a line producer and just got by and be like, holy shit, I can't believe I pulled that off. I think I might have been able to, but like, it's still, looking back, like that probably wouldn't have been a smart move on my part.
Well, one of the things that line producers do, especially, I think they do it at all levels of seniority, but when you hire a line producer, the first thing they want to do is prove to you that they're a good line producer. And they do that by taking your script and then immediately cutting things out of the budget. And they're like, see, I'm earning my keep here. I'm saving you money. I'm taking things out that I think are superfluous. But then sometimes they do that to the detriment of the film and the story or the thing that made the director or the writer want to do it.
Right.
That key, amazing scene. And so you have to fight with your line producer. And then if you don't let them do it, then all of a sudden they're like, so it's an interesting little role they have to play. It's like when a corporation fires everybody and brings in new management. And the first thing new management does is go fire everybody and bring in his own people or her own people. And it's like, and they only do that because, like, I need to prove that I'm different than the manager before that you just fired. Yeah. Right? How do I prove that I'm different?
Looks a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing you do, you ask the hiring manager, you say, was the old manager like a people person or was he a numbers guy or gal? If he's a numbers guy or gal, you come in and you're a people person. If he's a people person, you come in and you're like a stickler. You're like, okay, I need to be opposite of that other person. So I don't know. It's interesting. I am curious about one budget point in your accounting history. And we don't have to stick too long on it, but I am curious. Nick and I have been espousing that films now spend up to 60% on P&A alone, especially these larger films. Does that jive with you, or are we off?
No, I'd say, yeah. I mean, I'd say the standard is still like about 50%. So if you're making $100 million movie, you're going to probably spend another $100 million on print and advertising and commercials and stuff.
Okay. So
you're pretty close, yeah. But I'd say 50% is the standard.
But if we look in IMDb Pro, right, and it says the budget was $100 million, does that mean that there was $50 million P&A, or does that mean we're seeing
it means
half
$100
the
million
budget?
P&A.
Yeah. They're only showing you the actual shooting budget, and and even that, in most cases, it's usually less than what it actually is. I think sometimes they're embarrassed to say how much the actual, because they end up just going so far over with the reshoots and everything, and a lot of times they're not. I don't think they include that. Because sometimes I see the budget, I'm like, I worked on that one. I was like, you definitely spent a lot more than what I'm seeing. I was like, I literally have the budget on my hard drive. I could pull up right now.
That's what this podcast is here to do, folks. Like that's like that detail, that inside baseball, you just don't get. And it's so funny because a studio film would be the opposite of an indie film in that way. So studio film
Yeah.
is embarrassed to say they spent and went over budget because they're publicly traded. They don't want shareholders to see that the money's kind of a little bit loose. And on an indie film, you're always trying to overstate how much you spent. Right? Like
And
you don't want them to know that you really spent $750 when you can report that you spent 2.2.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Right. So it's just so funny that polar style. I guess the same thing is true. Like is how dependent or reliant on state or government federal tax credits, depending on where you shoot, to studio films versus indie films in your experience?
I mean, honestly, it's just as important for both.
Okay.
So, like, from the state, from the studio side, the irony is this is like the irony of California is they have a lottery tax credit, and it's for anybody to apply for, but it's also for job rate. But the biggest factor is job ratios. So you only get the tax credit based off of how many people you're employing on that project. Well, a $3 million indie is always going to lose to the $50 million studio film.
That's right.
Which is also the ones like, do they really need the tax credit versus the $3 million indie who's like just scraping by? But yeah, from the studio side all the way down to the indies, they're always just chasing the tax credit. Like there's never anyone ever just leaving. It's just money you're leaving on the table that no investor. There's a few people that can get away with it, like especially in California that just have a big enough name. We're like, hey, I don't leave California, but again, then they're probably going to do what they'll do then in that case is, okay, well, that means we're not getting the tax credit, which means we have to make this 30% cheaper than we would if we went to, New Jersey or Kentucky or Connecticut where they have a 30% tax credit.
Right.
And so then it's like, okay, so maybe I'll pay the actor less money and I'll give them a bigger back end. So they'll still find a way to justify to shoot it then outside of the tax credit. So they'll use that as like the meter as, okay, well, if we shot this in New Jersey, we would save this much. So we have to now make the budget for this much here in California because we have to keep it at this level because we know that's how much we can sell it for after, all the advertising and everything. So it's just really a numbers game at the end of the day and how they come back into it.
That's why we need guys like you, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. Just sitting on the calculator all day long.
Play the numbers game.
It's a numbers game.
But you've now shifted. You've shifted hats. Take off the accounting hat. Put on the directing hat.
They'll never let him take it off.
Well, he's got a commemorative coin. He's got a commemorative coin. He's like a taxi driver. He's got a coin. He puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
It's a curse because even as a director or producer now, I just walk on set and I just see number signs on everything. And it's just,
it's like your version of Neo in the Matrix.
Exactly what I was going to say.
It's just like the code. I'm like, oh, that's costing me money. That's costing me money. I'm like, wait a minute, why don't you finish that bagel, man? That's
right.
Costing money.
Exactly. You better eat up, bro.
Yeah, save that for later. Because then, also, each within the budget, there are, each department has, is allotted X amount of money. And the oldest trick in the book is, you tell each department less than what they actually have because they're always going to go over.
They're always
going to contingency. Contingency, man.
I have 3 contingencies I always hide in my budget, and there's one that someone knows about, another one someone else knows about, and then one that no one knows about, and that's my secret one. And so I always just hide. I know where to hide it, and that's what my safety net is.
That might be the name of this episode, Nick. Secret contingencies.
Yeah.
Secret contingency.
There you go.
Something.
No.
Do that,
right? It's not going to be called that. It's going to be called Finish That Bagel, bro.
Yeah. Dude, I can't tell you how many times we go through water like crazy, but then there's always just half-empty bottles of water everywhere over set, and then they're always in the way too. They're always on cameras, like, oh, we got to clear out this water bottle. It's like, it gets me so frustrated. It's
dude,
you
can't just. That's
like
why
my
I
house.
don't have no. That's why I don't have those little water bottles at my house anymore because it would kill me when somebody would come over and be like, you got some water? I'm like, yeah, give them a water bottle. They start drinking it, put it down, run off, do something else. I'm like, man, you got a water bottle? I'm like, do you drink the other one? Oh man, I don't know where it is. End of the night, what are you doing? Yeah. You're picking up half drunk water bottles all over the house. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
When we throw parties,
but I got something for you.
We have people marker their name on the cups. So
yeah,
we
got the markers. Don't you think we don't have the markers? But I will tell you this: if you have never thought about this, you go and you pick those things up, and almost everybody has a coffee maker at home, right? You do. You have an espresso maker, coffee maker. Take that water, put it in the coffee maker because it's gonna
Oh, there
boil
you
it
go.
anyway. So you're
Well,
good.
Smart.
You are a
Yeah.
gross Negro.
See, we need to keep you on set. You guys save us money.
I'm gonna
See,
save you money. Is what I do.
I
Mike,
like that.
Mike. Don't listen to him.
No, see, Chris is like, that's
Don't
nasty.
listen to him. Come on, nobody's doing that.
Whatever,
Hey,
man.
audience,
It'll
to the
boil
audience,
it
nobody's
out.
doing that.
Boil
He's
it
over there like
out.
the little water. He's like the water boy, just sitting over there
Hey,
boiling it.
Exactly, 100%.
Hey man, you know how kids drink water?
Boil it out, bro.
I mean, like you see their tongues down the
Yeah.
Hey,
bottle, like,
listen.
all
At the
over it.
end of the day, Chris, I'm telling you that I'm over here like, it's some high quality H2O.
It's too much.
I don't know, man. You're a nasty Negro, my friend. Nasty. Dude, I tell you what, man. When a kid drinks, they take the water, and then whatever in their esophagus comes back into the cup. Does that shit boil out? Does that boil out?
It came from their esophagus. He's like,
Yeah. All the stuff they
He
have.
said, all the phlegm.
All the stuff
not
they
that
got from
bad,
the water hose.
It's
all
not that bad,
stuff.
bro.
Back
It's
into
not
the
that
cup,
bad.
and you're trying to boil it out.
Hey, and we're saving money. So Mike and I are on the same team. You can go sit over there. Waste
Listen,
your,
man,
waste your water money.
You're gonna have YouTube put a health warning on this episode. It's 2024. They're talking about.
You're right. It's all good. Don't even say the words.
Yeah, I can't even say it.
Can't even say it.
They
They'll be blocking you.
YouTube, Mike, man. They're the beast, man. They'll demonetize you for saying certain words on your podcast. Yeah. I sit here a censored man. I'm censored in the regime. Anyway, let's talk about Clawfoot. Switched hats, directing this. Did you write it as well?
No, it was written by April Wolf.
Okay.
She's a talented writer, and it was such a great script, such great dialogue. She writes really well.
All right, how did you guys hook up? How did this movie come to be? I know you've got a couple of pretty interesting, up and coming, and powerful stars in this. Francesca Eastwood, Milo Gibson. Talk about how this all came together.
Yeah, I mean, talk about, man, my fortune just keeps. I got so lucky with this too. So I'm actually me and my buddy Andrew. We wrote a few scripts a few years ago that sold, and so that kind of got us into the WGA. And when you join WGA, they pair you up with a mentor, and then that mentor has like a little group of people. So, and April was also just new to the WGA at that point as well for a film she wrote called Black Friday. And so the group just kind of all met. We go out for drinks and just kind of like kid around, like, talk about the industry, what's going on, what's happening. And then eventually led to, hey, I write, you write. We should just, pass scripts around, if anyone's looking for anything or give notes. And, so I knew she sent me hers to read. And at the same time, Yale Entertainment was looking for, because I was producing Rare Objects at the time, actually. And so I was in New York. And so I got a text saying, hey, we're looking for a contained script with minimum cast and locations for this one guy to direct. And so I was like, oh man, I had this one script. I already knew about the script. It's like, that's a perfect one for me to pitch, for me to direct. And I was like, oh, I don't want to just give this away when like this might be my chance. So I was like, but also I was like, there's no way they're going to let me direct it anyway. I was like, so I texted them back, like, hey, I got this one, but this is one I was hoping to direct. So I just kind of just left it at that. And so I sent it to them, and then like they're like, oh, okay. And then I just never heard back from them for like 2 or 3 months. And then just like randomly, like 3 months later, they're like, hey, so you think you can direct that movie? I was like, yeah, I think so. I was like, no, I know so. Yeah, I can definitely do it. They're like, can you do it on a micro budget? I was like, yeah, for sure. Not even knowing if I could or whatever. Never actually did a budget for it. And they're like, all right, well, it's going to be like really low. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so like, well, okay, well, first off, you've never directed a feature before, so we still got to make sure we get cast attached with you. So don't get too excited. And so that's when they started reaching out to like Francesca and Milo and Nestor and the rest of this cast. And it was very much like, they're all like, hey, yeah, we love the script, but it was like, well, who's the director? And so it became about them interviewing me. And so I basically had to pass the test with all the cast to make sure they're comfortable with me directing it. So, I met up with Milo, I met up with Francesca, told them, I've been doing shorts at this time too. I've done like about 5 or 6 short films. I did like over like 50 web series episodes and then a handful of music videos. So it's not like I was just like complete, didn't know what I was doing. So I've been like for the past 5 years at this point, I knew I wanted to direct. I knew I had to have at least a body of work to show I knew what I was doing. And so I made this, so I invested some money. I like got to the point where I had this short film. So all my short films were just like done for nothing essentially with my friends. And I finally got to the point like, okay, I'm ready to invest money in one now. So like I got, I got through like, got the bad stuff out of the way. Like I figured I learned a lot along the way. Hopefully now I know I can put money into it and actually get a good result. And so I put some of my own money up for it and paid a bunch of people to come out, and we made like a little horror film short. And that's the one that like kind of everyone saw that. I'm like, oh, that's good production value. And, so that's what kind of convinced them that I knew what I was doing. That and another short I did.
Wait a second. So what you're telling me is that you called your buddy from college and you paid him to direct that short for you. You gave him $300 again, or did his price go up?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna sit in the back in the AC. You go do that, and I'll take credit again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was like, man, it's gonna be more than $300 this time, brother.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be $5.
Right. He's like, cool, I can deal with that. I can handle that.
So
nice.
Well,
congratulations on that, man.
Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is, actually? So, I mean, that's the one they sent around to everybody. But I didn't realize this. When they played it, it would then play the rest of my stuff that was on Vimeo, which I didn't realize. And if I would have known that, I would have turned it off. But actually, but the one that everyone loved the most, actually, was like whenever I met with them, they're like, oh, yeah, that one was great. But I really like this other one you did. And I was like, wait, what? And it's called Trixie. And I wrote this one.
What was it called?
Trixie.
And, okay.
Yeah, it's a short. It's like literally like a sketch. It's more of a sketch than a short even. I did it over COVID, during COVID times. I was like, oh, I wonder what the hookers are doing during this time or whatever. Like, how are they getting through this? So I wrote like a little sketch about a hooker that was getting propositioned, and he's like listing off the most nasty things he wants to do. She's like, yeah, not a problem, great, yeah. So what's going to cost you an extra 10, whatever. And then it ends with she's like, but wait, you're COVID tested, right? He's like, well, no, I'm in my own little bubble. And then she's like, you, and like, she's like, no, I'm not doing it.
I love that the whole genesis of that short film is your thought that popped into your head. I wonder what the hookers are doing during COVID.
You're right.
Yeah. I was like, well, because I saw an article where in LA, a strip club rented a warehouse that you could drive through and did like a drive-through strip club to keep the lights on.
Yep, I saw that too.
And that's what, so I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's like, well, what are the hookers doing? Like, you can't do a drive-through hooker.
I was like, or can you?
Yeah, or can you? Yeah.
Have you met?
Funny is like that short. They all saw that short because that was next in the playlist list, and they all love that one. And they're like, no, that's the one that sold us on. You know what you're doing. I was like, oh, okay. And that one I did.
Isn't that
nothing?
That's lucky again. You got lucky again.
Yeah. Seriously.
Shout out to Vimeo for playing your whole playlist.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
letting people see what's up. So, what is your storytelling style as a director? So you got this great opportunity. They said yes, you're going to do it. You got all the bad stuff out of the way, using your words. What style did you land on for storytelling? Did you emulate any of your favorite directors, any of your favorite storytellers in that?
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, that's one thing. Like I read somewhere like a long time ago, and I actually worked with Quentin Tarantino. I worked on Django Unchained, and one thing he always says is he's like, you pretty much just like steal from all the great directors. Like that's all you're doing. You're just taking the best of everything that you've ever seen and making your own version of that. And like he's absolutely right. Like I just like I'm a huge Alfred Hitchcock fan, and like I love his old classics, and that's perfect for like Rope is a contained movie with minimal cast, and it's all like in sequential order and like a very linear timeline, just like Clawfoot. And so I was like, okay, so there's some interesting things there, like how you just kind of work along that linear timeline. So like I was referencing some of that. Dial M for Murder, has a lot of like cat and mouse and things. So I was like, okay, well that's interesting. So I could pull some of that. And then on the more modern take, like I'm a huge fan of The White Lotus, and that's a very dry, dark humor. And so we really just leaned into like, and the dialogue's perfect. I was like, we're gonna make this like deliver this as dry as possible, and just really lean into that. And I think that's really going to work for the humor. And then we paired that I'm like also with The White Lotus. Like I love that music. So when you watch Clawfoot, you're like, oh, this music, this guy must really like The White Lotus. Well, yeah, 100% love The White Lotus. So and I love that music. And so that music just is a weird tension builder when you're doing like a thriller like this. And I wasn't sure it was going to work. And I mentioned it to to the guys doing the score, and they're like, "Wait, what style do you want for this?" They're like, "This is a thriller, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it's gonna be fun with the music, and it's gonna be dry." And they're like, "Okay." Then they're like, "You want animal sounds in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, monkeys, lions, tigers, whatever, make it like jungly, And he's like, "Okay." And then a few days later, he's like, "Mike, I'm on to something." He's like, "This is really cool." And he's like, "I've never done anything like this." So he had his girlfriend in there making monkey sounds, throwing like congos and bongo drums, and he's like,
Inspired by
really pushed
Timbaland.
me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right,
I
so
like
do you
also like
mind
he's
if
not
we-
being pretentious about it either, right? You know how somebody
Yeah.
can be pretentious and they'll ask you about your style, like, "Oh no, I thought about this, when I woke up from a dream, and I thought about this style," and like you know you're biting off White Lotus, bro. Like, why are you playing?
Yeah.
But he's like, "No,
Yeah.
I'm taking the advice of the greats,
No.
and the advice of the
Yeah.
greats is to learn from the greats and emulate their style in my own way. It's still yours, right? It's still 100% yours. It just borrows from the greatness that you've seen, and it's great that you're being honest about it, right? That's the beauty of it. I love that.
Nick, you're
that's
100%
something
right
I
about directors like that, by the way.
yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, just I love watching movies, and but the thing is, there's like a I love the dark comedies, but I don't see enough of them that I want. I'm like, so I'm just make a movie I want to watch at the end of the day. So I know I like this from this movie, I like this from that movie. I'm going to just make a remix of all my favorite things and just have a fun movie for everyone to watch.
I love it. Speaking of that, do you mind if we play your trailer?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
This morning when I woke up, Evan was gone. There was no note. I called the office, called his phone. The handyman is what's strange. All of a sudden, Evan disappears and this guy just shows up. We're not doing any construction.
Well, I have an order here. It says bathroom renovation.
That is your husband's signature at the bottom, right?
Were you going through my stuff?
Me? No, never.
I'd like you to get out of my room.
Right in the middle of a job? I don't think so.
Get
What? What did I do?
out of my house.
You better get used to this face.
Where do you think you're going?
Not the Cabernet, you peasant!
Housewife!
You are acting very strange. We're friends, right?
Oh, Janet!
What I'm about to show you isn't pretty, but it was necessary.
Let's get a drink.
Have you ever done this before?
No, but it can't be that difficult if so many men allegedly do it.
Anything they can do,
We can do better.
Shall we?
There it is.
Awesome.
Man, I
Awesome.
enjoy that. I enjoy that soundtrack. That score right there. To me, I'm like, it's a boom, boom. I'm like, oh yeah.
And the funny thing is that it's so dialed back too, and they really market it as a thriller, which that's what's funny. The movies, it is a thriller towards the end, but it's a lot more drier and comedic for most of it, and with even more samba style music, they really marketed it more as like a thriller for marketing reasons.
So what do you think about that though? When, now if I go see it and then like you said, the first, let's say 60% of the film doesn't add up to that trailer, right? How do you feel about the disconnect between those two things? Because I think it's cool, like the idea of, hey, market it as this and get them to click. But now that I'm there, will I stay? Because maybe it's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I guess and full transparency. I have no say over the marketing and how that stuff goes. And to me, you would think just go with be honest about it. It's I still love that. I still love watching that trailer because that is still the movie. There's that whole thriller aspect to it, so it is there. But I'm a fan of being more honest about what it truly is, because even a friend of mine from high school, Marlena, she saw the trailer and then she saw the movie and then she texted me afterwards. She's like, man, I love that movie. She's like, I wish the trailer was more accurate. She's like, that would make me want to. If I saw the trailer that movie actually was, I would have wanted to saw it even more. So like she's like, I feel like you're missing the demographic there.
Hey, split test, man. Split test.
Yeah.
Take it back to the marketing team and let them know,
Yeah.
hey, I'm hearing some stuff, right? People are being vocal. Might want to split test it and see how it does.
Yeah, get two trailers, cut two trailers, and push them in different places and see which one performs better.
Because at the end of the day, there is still that whole thriller aspect, and like that trailer still does represent it. It's just represent it with it should. I'd like to see the dark comedy come out of it too, if possible, because that's the style I really want to show people more than anything, I'd say.
And what is Clawfoot? Am I just missing out on the sort of cultural reference of this?
No, it's not even. Yeah, it's a tub. It's not really in the trailer.
It's the tub. So that's what I was thinking. That he's doing he's renovating the bathrooms. Looks like that's where he goes first, right? So that's what I thought of. It's the Clawfoot tub. So I like that.
Listen, I've never even heard of that, and I have some real estate background.
Right.
I've never heard of a Clawfoot tub. So me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's like something. It's those old school tubs where it has like those lion's feet on the bottom that are propping up the whole thing.
Yep.
It's that's what a Clawfoot tub is like. It just has that claw that kind of at the base of it.
Yeah, I'm just color me uncultured.
Yeah,
I know. It's all good because what's really weird about it is that it's called a clawfoot tub, but it should be a pawfoot tub. Like you said, it looks like a lion's paw. I've never seen like a claw on the bottom.
Like
it's not a claw.
See, they're misrepresenting the tubs. Imagine
exactly.
Imagine how many more sales they have with pawfoot claw. Especially cat lovers out there.
Yeah, see, exactly. And Chris and I over here laughing because I'm like, man, y'all misrepresenting the tub. You know what I'm saying? You might be outside with picket signs. Clawfoot tub. It's a pawfoot tub.
Pawfoot tub. All right, let's bring in Sam for some polls. Intern Sam, will you?
Let's go. We got to bring. What is it? It's Sam on the poll. I got to.
Sam,
Sam on the pole. There he is. Let's do it.
I'm here.
Unzip your poles.
All right. I have them ready. I have them ready. They're primed. So earlier, Mike, you mentioned that one of your biggest influences is Hitchcock, right? So we actually have a poll kind of tailored to that. So the poll's pretty simple. It's just which classic Hitchcock movie is the best or most influential, excluding Psycho. We kind of wanted to get some different answers here. So we had coming in at number one, so the highest voted for, is The Birds at 48%, followed by Rear Window at 22%, and then Vertigo at 21%, and then in dead last, Dial M for Murder at 8%.
Do you agree with this poll, Mike?
I would put Rope in there. I think those are all good.
Well, from the ones that he selected, right? From the ones that he selected, which one would you have clicked on in the online poll?
Oh, for number one, I would probably put Rear Window. I love that
too.
one.
Me too, 100%.
That's
all day.
I'm surprised that's not number one.
Yeah, because The Birds. How many times has The Birds been redone?
Yeah, and it's like don't scare me.
Never, maybe. Birds, maybe aspects of The Birds have been included in films, but Rear Window has to have been redone 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways. I feel like that one is the one that is more influential. But hey, the audience says what the audience says.
I would say even Disturbia, one Shia LaBeouf did, that was, a modern take on it. And I thought I was blown away by that one. I thought they did a great job with that one. I
did. I enjoyed that movie as well. And it kind of gets maybe forgotten a little bit in the lexicon of Shia LaBeouf. But
for sure.
It's great. It really is. It really is great. Now, Birds scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. So I would have voted Birds, and I actually did vote in this poll. I was one of the hundreds or whatever that did it, but I voted for Birds because Birds was scary. It's like, dude, we can't avoid birds.
Yeah. It's one of those things where
birds are out there.
Yeah.
They are, and there'd be a lot of them at the same time. So I would
if
give
they
you
could all
that
communicate,
every
they could all know,
time,
like, get Mike right
bro,
now.
Yeah.
every time you see like a bunch of birds, you can't help but think about that movie. That's true. I'll
They're
give you
conspiring
that.
against you. Yeah.
That's
They
true.
are.
Yeah.
They
And
are.
they're always in groups together. They're always just plotting, you know. And
That's
the
right.
beady eyes are always just like,
Yeah.
Especially ravens and crows, like they're like
Oh,
always
man.
plotting.
Yeah, you
together.
put a bunch of
All
sharks. You see, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But Chris, you got a problem with ravens and crows, bro? Is there something I should know about?
I hate blackbirds. Mike's like, I'm not laughing too hard at that shit. I'm not laughing too hard. I'm gonna laugh. I'm not
Mike was
laughing
like,
too hard.
not gonna suck me into that one.
I was like, I'm hearing a joke over here right
This
now.
this is gonna be on the internet for 100 years. I'm not laughing too hard. He's actually, that was a setup, Mike. He was seeing if you would fall out of your chair or not.
Yeah.
You're right.
Pass the test again.
Yeah.
He's too good,
All right.
man. He's too good.
He's too good.
Mike
He's too
over
good.
there
He's
with
too good. We
the
can't get him.
four-leaf clover.
We can't get Mike Day. Give us the next poll, Sam.
Okay, so the next one is a bit of a classic poll. It's just who is the greatest action director of all time? So coming in at number one, I thought this was an interesting pick. George Miller, 47%. Number two, James Cameron, 30%. That lines up. That seems accurate. Third place, Ridley Scott, 12%. And then, unfortunately, last place, I had to throw him in there, but Michael Bay, 11%. And I think it should be known the audience was not the biggest fan of the Michael Bay inclusion. We got some comments talking about how he snuck in there, and they didn't think that he was up to snuff for sure.
Come on, man. You cannot beat the camera shot from down below up the nostrils of the actors, and and they're
the
looking
bad
off
boys
in
for
the
life.
distance. Come on, you can't beat that.
I love Michael Bay. I love him. I think he's great.
Bro, that's how Mike gets into all the fancy restaurants, because he calls and he says, I'm making a reservation for Michael Day. And they're like, oh, Michael Bay? He's like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not going to correct you.
That's right. No, don't correct that.
Here's the thing about Michael Bay. Half the internet is going to say they don't like him because the media told them not to like him. And they don't know necessarily what they're talking about. Now, if you tell me James Cameron is a better director, I'm really okay with that. If you tell me he's a better storyteller, I'm really, really okay with that. Because the story you tell through your camera is really, James Cameron is a master at that. Like, he's maybe the best ever. Like, he's up there in that pantheon of that group of people you could discuss as the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
But if you say an action movie and you think car crashes and explosions, Michael Bay is great at that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I would say even go. I know people. Once VFX, he gets a little flashy, and I can see where people get a little turned off.
Yep.
But go back to The Rock. Bad Boys
That's
1.
right.
Before all that stuff. The Rock is one of my favorite movies of all time. That Hummer chase scene through San Francisco, that's insane. And that was all practical. That was crazy what they did.
That's Bad Boys 1, man. Come on, bro. You can't beat some of those scenes in Bad Boys. It's classic.
Will Smith running with his shirt out.
That's awesome.
Saving Martin Lawrence in the street. Yeah. And then he get up again and the camera hits him up the nostrils.
Every time.
Well,
I love it.
Also, new filmmakers that love film, and we love those folks. We love that they listen to the podcast, and we're enthusiastic as you are about it. But one of the things you have to realize is back when Michael Bay started, because you talked about practicality, a lot of those big sweeping shots couldn't be done with a drone. Mm-mm. And I love drone shots. I love drone for establishing as well, but it just does make it infinitely cheaper and easier to get those types of shots. Whereas before you had to have a jib, or you had to have something else to sweep across. You had to actually maybe even risk your life to get those shots. And I just think maybe we take it for granted
wasn't
now.
a priority.
Yeah,
Man, you
because
just
how are
use
you?
duct
Because
tape,
you had to
bro.
get because you had to
Just
get
duct
the camera
tape the guy
pop.
to the side of the car,
Yeah.
and
Maybe
let
you were
it
in a
happen.
helicopter. Maybe you were in a plane. Yeah, or
That's
Nick
that-
in a chase scene. Maybe you're hanging on a car. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. They did crazy shit back then. We still do. We still got away with a lot.
Yeah, especially in I guess it's like this in all film, but especially in indie film. If you write a story that has a car crash in it, you got to get it right on the first shot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
You don't get
Yeah,
it.
'cause you can't afford to do it
Have
again.
a lot of money to have a bunch of cars lined up.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a great poll. And Sam, Mike, if you don't know, Sam is a film savant, and so when he says "I love Michael Bay," I take that right to heart. You can too. Like it's
Nice. Oh yeah,
it's
right there.
It's smart. You just had 2 polls for us, right, Sam?
Yep, just the two.
Perfect. Well, Sam, thank you for laying your poll out for us. Your polls out for us. Polls.
It was
with
my
the S,
pleasure.
sorry.
It was my pleasure.
Well played. Well played. Sam, well done, my friend. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you,
brother.
intern Sam.
Appreciate you, man.
Dropping the
Yeah.
dope polls on us. I love that.
That's right.
That's good. That's good. I don't know. We didn't ask you, Mike. How would you have ordered that? I guess between just the 4 that were included. Would that be your same order? George Miller, James Cameron, Ridley Scott, and then Michael Bay, or would you mix that up at all?
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty decent order. I'd say, yeah. I don't know if I would mix it up. I mean, if you just look at the track record of them, it's like, yeah, like I say, Michael Bay has some really great older ones, but like Cameron and George Miller, like they have consistency to it. So yeah, I think that order's pretty accurate. The one thing I'm surprised, I was for sure thought someone would say Tony Scott over Ridley Scott. I thought he would be in the mix somewhere.
Oh,
from
Tony
his
Scott,
old stuff. Yeah. I mean, I love both Scotts and their films are always great. But yeah, I'm glad one of them made the list.
And it's also an impossible list to put together if you have to limit it to 4.
Right.
And it's not 4 on purpose. It's 4 on like by constraint for the YouTube poll. They only let you pick 4
and
options.
the taste of intern Sam as well, right? Like where
Yeah,
does he see
Intern
the
Sam,
top 4?
Yeah.
And then that's his top 4. So now it's just a matter of what people think the order would be.
Yeah. So in that case, I guess it was on purpose that he slid Michael Bay in there, and I'm glad he did. But I do really believe that sometimes we are just an amalgamation and an aggregation of all the stuff we see and hear, and we want to fit in and sound smart. And how smart do we sound if we say Michael Bay is awesome when we've been told he isn't? But that just go on set or just actually make a movie, because making a movie is really, really, really hard. And you can't say anything bad about anyone who's completed a movie that you can actually watch from beginning to end.
And Chris, we're a part of a different generation, right? We don't care. We will say what we feel. If I wanted to say Michael Bay was my favorite, then I'll say it, right? I'm not worried about someone being like, you don't know what you're talking about. Say what you want to say, bro, right? But like you mentioned, we are right in this area where like people Sam's age, right? Luckily, Sam doesn't fit into this, but people Sam's age will automatically shun a Michael Bay because, to your point, everybody else is, or the media tells them to do it. So they'd rather be safe and not get trolled and not get poked at. So they're just going to go with what consensus is. But yeah, we're in
the age of shame at scale.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and you don't want to risk shame at scale.
Yep.
Right. And I'd say you said something really interesting in there. Where you're like, just getting a movie done in general. Like, you're so right. Like, and I've talked to other people. There's that whole B movie, the micro slasher movies, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, yeah, maybe I don't watch them, and my parents definitely don't watch them. But it's like, to get something across the finish line, like that is such a all the stars had to align. Like, it is such an impossible. You have so many things working against you, and if you're able to get together the money or just get the people all coordinated to put together a movie, no matter what genre, like what budget, whatever, like it's impressive. Like, and hats off to whoever just gets across the finish line and puts out whatever it is in whatever style and they like it. Like, I can't be more like proud of them because like I know how hard it is to get across the finish line. So you said like, yeah, people need to stop shaming. It's like, people have a taste. Everyone has different tastes. Like, just let them like what they like.
Yeah,
exactly. And we're at the point now where we just have so much content where everyone can, the niche markets have access, they have the funding now, and they also have the platform to put it on. So now we're just seeing so much. Might be bad to us, but there's probably millions of people that love it,
Yeah.
And there's
there's always a guy out there that gets turned on by feet.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something for everybody.
Yeah,
there's something for everyone.
There's something for let's hop into some things we should know with producer Papa Bear. Producer Papa Bear, drop some things we should know on us.
Okay, well, you guys are having entirely too much fun. For my serious thing we should know.
Oh, you better bring us down.
No.
I thought that was my job. To bring us down.
So
right.
I'm going to go back to Mike's experience as an accountant. It's important to watch that budget and keep a film from running over budget. And you talked about contingency. You got to have a fund, a rainy day fund, and to take care of those unforced errors. So my question for you is, what film ran way over budget, although for many reasons, one of which was the well-known and popular director lost an entire day's worth of film by walking it through an airport x-ray machine, requiring the reshoot of 2.5 hours worth of pivotal finale scenes?
First of all, my heart breaks for that filmmaker. This reminds
Who was
me
the
of
director?
Terrible stories I've heard about this stuff. People, what was her name? Frances? Yeah, Frances. What's her new
Francis
last
Ford
name?
Coppola?
No,
our
Frances, our guest. She has a new last name. Frances
Hernandez?
Yeah, but that's not her last name anymore. But she got married. Anyway, shout out to Frances. So she shot a short film and somebody stole it out of her car, all of it, all the discs, all the drives.
Yeah, it took her
somewhere
laptop.
out there. Yeah, somebody out there has a whole short film that she shot. I want to say this happened to longtime guest ago, Amanda Young. This is crazy when people steal from artists. It really gets me fired up.
Yeah.
When I used to intern for RJS Artists and Fat Sam Music Publishing, we had a band named Drive By Trucker, and they did a gig in Memphis. And someone in Memphis stole everything out of the back of their touring van. And these guys were touring around the country, literally making $50 to $100 a show at the time because they had split the money up. And it's when you steal from an artist, you have no idea what a big sin you've committed.
Yeah.
Because these are grinders, people grinding,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's stealing. But this guy made the mistake himself, and he's the director.
Yeah, it's more like Chad McLaren. Chad McLaren once shot on a Black Magic. He's a director. He's got a horror film coming out soon. He shot on a Black Magic and didn't know how to use it correctly, I think, or something like that, Nick, right? And then the whole day he thought he was shooting, and he shot nothing.
Oh my God.
He shot nothing because he was DPing, I think, and he thought he was shooting the whole time, and he actually saved zero footage.
That's when you woke up and you'd be like, man, I got robbed. I'm like, Debo came out of the corner. He said, what you got on my chain? I was like, bro.
You have a black eye, then had to tell that story.
Exactly.
Exactly. Shout out to Chad McLaren.
I'm going Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino did it? Okay, Mike,
Yep,
what are you
Tarantino did
thinking? Which director walked through an airport and lost all this footage for a day? Or at least 2.5 hours of shooting.
What does that add up in numbers? 2.5 hours worth.
And he said it was a final scene too. So
it was the big finale.
It could be a lot. Yeah.
That'd be hundreds of thousands, if not millions. You spend so much a day, it's insane. And if this is a big time director, I'm guessing. I'm trying to think because it's crazy. I definitely have heard this story.
Yeah, Papa Bear. What level of director is this?
He says a big time director.
Or does it give it away if you say it?
A top. Yeah, well, it might. But I would say in the top 25, maybe. 25, 35,
Oh, he just went 25, 35 on me.
I'll tell you, he's a well-known director. There won't be anybody scratching their head about, who's that director?
Yeah. I'm probably wrong. For some reason, I want to say Steven Soderbergh, but I doubt that's it. Because I just know he's just such a hands-on guy, so I could see him walking with the film or something.
Who did you say?
Good guess.
Steven Soderbergh.
Oh, okay.
That's a really good guess.
No.
You'll what? Did he get it right? Is that it?
No.
No.
Okay.
He's
And
not
what-
right,
and
Chris.
you had Tarantino, Nick,
I had
right?
Tarantino.
Yeah.
Okay.
What film?
Oh,
What film?
Oh,
Do
wow.
you think he did that?
Oh wow. So okay.
Yeah. What film
So Nick's
and
right.
what director?
God.
Okay, this is too long of a pause.
I'm gonna go Spielberg, Jaws.
Great one. Great one.
yeah. I don't know. Now I'm like,
That Spielberg.
Because it can't be
got
modern because
Tarantino.
they wouldn't let you walk through with the film through the machines we walk in now. It has to be old where it's going down the conveyor belt.
Yeah.
well, they still have that now. So
Yeah, they do, but
I
I'm
think,
just saying.
yeah, I'm
but-
thinking Desperado, and the only reason I'm saying Desperado is because I didn't think the ending really added up. There was a piece in that ending where it just the villain didn't match up to who the actual villain was in the movie. Like when they did a flashback, it was a different guy. So it's like those two things aren't matching. I don't understand. So part of me is like, well, maybe that's what happened, and they had to switch it because he lost all that, and they didn't have that actor or something. So I don't know. I'm throwing
That's
it
a
out
good
there.
guess.
Quentin Tarantino, Desperado.
Well, Mike,
All right, Papa
Yeah,
Bear,
has the best
give
chance
us
because-
the solution here.
has Mike said anything? Oh, yeah, he said Soderbergh.
Yeah, you said it was wrong off the
You
bat.
said the story. That was so long ago. You said the story sounded familiar. It was the film Alexander, director Oliver Stone.
Oliver, of course, Oliver did it.
Yeah.
One of
Amateur
the-
hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who else would
the
it be? but Oliver
airport
Stone?
was in Bangkok, Thailand.
Of course, it's in Bangkok.
Some of his
Yeah.
other cost overruns were because he had 15 shooting locations in 5 countries and on 3 continents.
Wow.
So,
And so,
there's-
okay, so just to recap,
there's some tabs there.
the name of the film is Alexandria.
Alexander, like Alexander the Great.
Oh, Alexander the Great.
But
yeah, yeah.
there's the Great is not a part of the official title, but it's about Alexander the Great.
Isn't he redoing it?
That film has been done so many times. If you
Someone's doing an
Look on
Alexander the Great
IMDb.
movie right now, and it's
there, I
Yeah.
think there is. It's coming out in 24. Yeah.
yeah, somebody's doing an Alexander the Great. Anyway, that is definitely a thing we should know.
Yeah. Don't go to
because-
the airport with your film.
Yeah, filmmakers out there, do not go to the airport with your film. And then 2, now we have an icebreaker at any party we're sort of nervous or anxious at.
Yeah, and filmmakers over here like, wait, what's film? I don't understand that. Like,
Hey, Nicole Regal shot Dandelion on 16mm Kodak.
there you go. Yep.
Super soft, super beautiful shots of Wyoming is where I think she shot that. So it still happens. I mean, like I said, in a couple weeks ago, there is a little bit of, there's a price you pay because it's harder to show actors playback, right? With film, you actually just have to take it and develop it. In some cases, you could figure out playback, but if you just want to go with the pure process, you got to pay a price and you should film. But
Just ask John Kirby, man. He's
Well-
got the way. He knows how to
he's
do
got
it.
the way. Still,
Oliver
Still use it.
Stone's big finale battle scene
yes.
at the end is what he lost and had to reshoot. They shot it in Thailand because the elephants in Thailand were better trained than the ones he originally wanted to use in India.
Wow.
All right.
I love it.
Getting an
Okay,
education.
Yeah.
so Papa Bear, you did it again.
Yeah.
Thank you
You
for
did.
bringing us the thing you
love
should
that,
know.
yeah.
You look great, by the way. You look like you get discounts at Golden Corral in Texas.
Logan's Roadhouse.
Dressed up as Texas Walker Ranger.
Right.
Well, yeehaw.
Yeah, there's like that mixed with a little Matlock in there. It's
Oh,
a
man,
perfect look. I love it. I love Matlock.
Thanks, PB.
Thank you, PB. Well.
That's an expensive mistake.
Heck yeah, man.
It is.
That's
Well, we
I
had
can't even imagine.
you mentioned John Kirby and Libby Handros earlier, Nick, and they are pretty close with Oliver Stone. At
No,
least they sound like they were, like, or
I
at least
think so. Well, you know.
they've used some of his work. So Oliver Stone is, fairly controversial. Sort of considered maybe by some a truth-telling director, storyteller, considered by others a conspiracy theorist, sort of director, storyteller.
Well, JFK, when he made that movie, it was after that movie came out, they reopened the case to investigate. There's a lot of truth here, and then like his movie reopened the case. I was like, that's awesome.
I mean, that's how powerful film is.
Power.
Yeah. Film's the ultimate medium, and I've probably mentioned this ad nauseum over the span of the show, over all of our episodes. But there's something you learn when you go to school for marketing, which is sort of the levels of engagement people have with certain types of media. So if you want, it's sort of the lowest engagement is text, and then after that it's audio, then after that it's video, and film is text, audio, and video combined. So it's literally the most engaging way to get your point across, and it can be used as a weapon for a lot of different reasons. There are a lot of different ways to use film to get to whatever ends you want to get to. And I think outside of how collaborative it is, that's one of the reasons we all love it so much.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. Thank you, producer Papa Bear. Nick, I think this is the time where we turn it over to you. You drop us
a culture check. I think Mike peed a little on that one. He did.
I didn't say it was a little.
Yeah. That's the brown note. That's the brown.
So yes, I definitely got a culture check this week, and what's really cool is that it comes like legit this week. Like I was watching Mario Van Peebles and Mandela Van Peebles on The Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. I really want to have them on this podcast as well. So I was like, let me check them out.
Can you tell the people who The Breakfast Club is for the uninitiated?
Oh man, well I think that's Charlamagne the God. I love saying the name, right? And Charlamagne the God. It's all one word.
DJ Envy.
And DJ Envy. And they got a great show. I mean, it's just if you don't know who they are, I'm not sure where you've been or what you've been doing, but they do a great job. But Mandela and Mario Van Peebles were on the show, and they were talking about their film that was recently released, Outlaw Posse. And I will tell you, and we're going to definitely put a link, in the show notes to this, but you got to watch that episode, primarily because Mario Van Peebles speaks, and he speaks on it. Like, what is it? Well, you'll find out when you listen, right? It's amazing. But one of the things he talked about, he was saying, one of the reasons that it's difficult to make culturally sensitive movies in Hollywood is because, and I'll quote him, he said, the dominant culture has to see itself reflected in a dominant way. And I was like, man, like that's legit, because I'm going to tell you this, right? So I can tell you this now. When did Black Panther come out? That was like 10 years ago.
One?
Yeah,
2015.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago. So I've been sitting on this for a while because I wasn't trying to get whooped by my people out in the street. But I saw that movie and everybody was going, Wakanda forever, like, oh, Black Power. I was like, man, that's a white savior movie. Like, what are you talking about? Like, black people didn't win that. The white dude did. There was one guy. He was in the CIA, FBI, DHA, FMB, and he was in there, and he was the one pulling the strings, having the conversations with everybody, making everything work. And then what happened at the end of the movie? The same thing that happened in the Transformers movie. You had the weakest dude out of the whole thing save everybody. What happened? What they say? He was a fighter pilot, right? Back in his day, right? Because he stopped doing that. So that was probably 20 years ago he stopped being a fighter pilot. They put this dude in a Wakandan warship. Okay? He gets in here and he's like, I guess I can figure it out. Gets in and he flies this thing. He's swerving around and flipping and shooting everybody. And I'm like, bro, seriously? Like, you had this whole movie about Black Power and you had a white savior at the end. But here's the thing. Is that is what Mario Van Peebles is saying. Like, you can do it. You can do your Black Panther if you want to, but make sure a white guy saves the day. So here's the deal. I think that is true for independent film in general, as in everybody wants to make the movie that makes it big, right? You make an independent movie, you want to get picked up, you want Hollywood to bless you and to give you these awards and do all the things.
Well, everybody wants to be the next Napoleon Dynamite, right?
Right,
or,
but I think it's a challenge
Activity.
because all of these independent films are not representative of the dominant culture. So in Hollywood, what is the dominant culture? It's Hollywood. So if Hollywood doesn't see itself in your independent film, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go do something else. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, Mike, as a producer, as a director, working with independent studios, independent artists. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough to even get any movie made today. It all just comes down to the bottom line, and they're only looking at the number. It's like, oh, well, it almost doesn't even matter what the movie is. I mean, obviously specific genres help, a drama, it's like the Rare Objects, that one, like that's not a movie everyone's like, oh my God, I gotta go see that movie because it's about a girl struggling with mental issues. Like that's not something, people, they're looking to escape, not, maybe look in the mirror like, hey, I'm having mental problems too. But so it's not even about like that. Like what really comes down to, it's like they're just running numbers. Like they're not even looking at the script anymore. There's like, okay, well, if this person's in it with this person and it's this genre, or we can market it as that genre, like like I was saying with Clawfoot, like can we market it as a thriller and not a dark comedy? Great, let's do that. And put Eastwood and Gibson in there. Great, okay. And then it just checks off these boxes. It's like, okay, we can make money off this, or and so. It's very unfortunate because it's really hurting the creativity. And I just saw a quote. I think it was either like not Francis Ford. It was Mark. I think maybe it's like Francis or Martin Scorsese. Someone's like, why don't you make a superhero movie or something? He's like, why would I? It's like they're already been made. Like don't you want to see something new? But that's the thing is like. The people making the movies are saying no. The audience doesn't want to see something new. They just want to see the same stuff over and over again with just a new packaging or a new Batman.
But that's not true. Like the audience isn't saying that, but the dollars say that, right? So that's what one of the issues I've always had with it is that the audience believes that they can speak with their mouths, but companies don't hear people speak with their mouths. They hear people speak with their dollars. So people want to say, stop doing the superhero movies, but they keep making $1 billion, right? It's like they just, so if you keep spending in that space, then the companies will say, okay, that's what's making us money. Keep doing more of that.
Right.
And now you have people even just going to watch it just to hate it and make fun of it. So they're still making money off those people.
Right.
Like if you look at like the Michael Bay movies, like people go just to trash it. It's like, well, great, I still got your money. So what's the problem here?
Yeah.
So how does that affect you though? So now you're in the position as a director, as a producer, head of production, right? For a studio. Like, how does that affect what you make? Because I'm sure you want to make craft. You want to make good films. You want to make things that you want to see. But at the same time, you also want to make a living. You got to make money.
Yeah.
So how do you balance those two things out?
Well, the nice thing about being on the indie side is that we don't have any rights to any IP, so like we're stuck doing original stuff, So that kind of works in our favor. Where like, but then you have to get creative with the casting. It's like, well, how do I get a Chris Hemsworth in this low budget thing? It's got to be a really good script or a really funny role, or like I just produced this movie called Stranglehold, and that Jake Lacey and Ashley Benson's in, and we got Ron Perlman to do like a smaller role, and we got Justin Long to do a smaller role. But they're really fun roles, and that's a really good script. And so, like, you would just think this, like, if the studio was like, hey, well, the studio's only putting out 1 or 2 big budget movies, but they're seeing all these other guys putting out tons of these smaller ones with these good casts and these fun roles, like, you would think they would start seeing that too. Like, well, there is something here, and people are seeing these. And if we would, put a bigger budget behind it and, and actually market this, like, we could take this to the moon, and we could just change the landscape and let's move away from the superheroes for now. And which, I mean, I think, you look back in the day, like Westerns, at a certain point, they're just only making Westerns, and everyone's like finally got fed up with that, and then they just finally went away. So it just kind of goes in phases. It's just part of the industry too, I guess.
Okay, so the goal for
But
you
yeah,
right
but I
now
agree with
is
that.
it's to tie those great stories to at least you're continuing with notable names. Like that is the key, I think, for the independent world is yeah,
Yeah,
you want to do a great story, but the thing is you got to get a notable name because even if you're not selling to Hollywood, buyers will buy because the name is what sells.
exactly. And then the way to get that name is, it's at the end of the day, like we're not paying them a lot because these are low budget. So it's really got to be a good script and a good character.
Nice. I like that.
And then
And then when
fitting
you
your
have those
schedule.
like those good characters, so let me just ask that. So where are you getting your scripts from, and how are you managing? And I'm sure you have casting director things like that, but like how do you manage like who you're going to pick for those scripts? I mean, do you have like a bunch of scripts sitting around? Are you calling all your WJ buddies, and you're kind of going through them, and do they
Oh,
already have ideas for who they think they should play, who should play those characters? Is that how that works?
yeah, it's always good to kind of like, have like, the wish list. It's like, or, it's like kind of written for somebody. Like, we might not get it's like, hey, this is written for a Chris Pratt type. Okay, everyone can get Chris Pratt, but hey, maybe we can get Scott Eastwood and he's got that, look and feel. And so it's like, then you start to say, okay, well, I can't get him, but who can I get that's in that same look and feel, and also still has the pulls in the audience. And it's also looking for a movie like this. Because that's the other thing, it's not like a lot of these actors, they're getting offers every day for the same roles, just different scripts. And so you really got to find something that's going to break through that barrier because it gets to a point where it's not about the money for them, especially on these low budget ones. It's really got to be about,
Right.
Something they really like. Oh, this looks fun. This is something different for me.
The
Where,
performance.
that's why you see a lot of them like do like, they get to play villains now. Like you see like these older people that never have to play a villain their whole life, and now they're getting to have like sink their teeth into something fun like this. So it's about like, and that's also good too for the audiences going against their expectations. So it's like, oh, well, like again, I'm just going to use the Justin Long from this last movie. He plays this really funny, but like this really like disgusting strip club owner. And like, it's just, but he plays it so well and so funny and with a crazy accent. And like, I've never seen Justin Long do something like this before. And it works so well. And it's just like when the audience sees him, it's gonna be like, oh wow, that's awesome. Justin Long is doing this crazy character, like, and gave him a chance to do something different, and it's gonna be fun for the audience too.
Shout out to
That's
Justin
cool.
Long. He's super talented. I mean, my thoughts on this culture check, Nick, is that everything Mike said is spot on, but it doesn't change the world, right? Like it is bringing sort of the the dominant culture to an indie film, right? If you cast it with star cast, then that's how Hollywood can see itself in your movie. And so it doesn't really change the paradigm, and maybe the paradigm shouldn't be or really can't be changed if you want to be profitable. Years ago we had a producer share with us a spreadsheet that had a list of star names, and they were ranked quite sort of rudimentary, like in a rudimentary way, like just like 0 to 10. And the higher the number, the more they sold in pre-sales overseas.
Yeah,
And it's just a simple way to rank stars. I think also unions play a big role in this, right? Mm-hmm. Like if a bunch of independent films start to do really, really well, and they're all off union, off SAG, no WGA writer, no DGA director, then that weakens the importance of the guild. And so, what I was told by a handful of producers is this, and I may have mentioned this before, I can't remember, but a lot of those guys view you as out of industry because you're siphoning off of all the good from the industry, but because you're not in any union, you're not giving back to anything, right? So when you're in the WGA, when you're in the DGA, even the Producers Guild to some degree, when you're in IATSE, you are part of an organization that is going to help somebody pay their health insurance. Or have health insurance. You're helping your gaffer or your key grip have a family and a house and kids. You're through your fees and dues and your work and allowing them to arbitrate and negotiate on your behalf. You are in the industry because you are part of a cycle and flow of money and resources that the industry has built up in their infrastructure. And so when you make an independent film, you're basically saying, I cannot be part of that, but I would like to be. Or maybe you're saying, I am not part of that and I don't want to be. And I think this is where you're at, Nick, the culture check. How do I just make a brand new world where there's a new infrastructure? Because you've said this a few times. It's like, how do we make a second Hollywood? Well, that's like asking, how do you make a second NFL? Or how do you make a second NBA? Or how do you make a second MLS? Or Europe's European Premier League? It's very, very difficult. It's not that simple. And so that's why I say I don't know if you can or should.
No, I think it still rings true. I think the dominant culture has to see itself reflected in a dominant way.
Yeah.
I think there's so much power in that. Again, I think it speaks to Hollywood and how it needs to see its interests reflected. And I think so that's one thing. And what I mean by that is one could be that it's the white guy that shows up and saves the day in a black film.
Right.
Okay. That's one way for the dominant culture to see itself reflected. The next one is, well, what's the dominant culture? The haves is the one with the money. So the ones with the money want to see themselves reflected, which is this film needs to make money, right? That's the next way to look at it. And then I look at it another way. I was like, if you're going to make a movie about Black power, then make sure that that culture that you're speaking to, the dominant culture that you're speaking to, sees itself represented in that way as well, right? If you're making something that is artsy, right? Something that's eclectic, something that's off the beaten path, then make sure that the choices that you make in your film reflect the dominant culture that you're speaking to. So I think that's what's really cool about it, is that you can look at that statement in so many different ways. Because I think some people do make indies for indies, right? You make a black movie for black people, right? Like sometimes you want to do it for everyone in Hollywood, but that's it. I think there's like such genius in it. Is like, that is just the truth of the matter, right? The dominant culture, the one that you're speaking to, is the one that you need represented in there. So, or to see itself. So I thought it was just such a great quote that works in so many different ways. And again, Mike gave his perspective on how that impacts him. And then of course, Mario Van Peebles, again, you got to watch that on the Breakfast Club, gave a great perspective on that with respect to Outlaw Posse, the movie that they released.
There's a Sean Wang movie that just came out and or is coming out now called Dee Dee. And I saw a screening of it a few days ago. And I thought he did a great job of doing exactly what you said, Nick. Like, this is an indie film and you see indie all through it. And it just works so beautifully. It's a really great movie. I think you should go watch it. Especially if you grew up feeling like an outsider a little bit, it'll really hit you then. If you felt like mad at your parents, but it wasn't really their fault kind of thing. It's good coming of age films. If you like that, go check out Dee Dee. I think by Sean Wang, that's his name. He's the guy who did the short that was up for an Oscar, got bought by Disney last year. I always forget the second part of this. Nine and Waipo, yeah. And I think Nai is in this movie too. And she does a great job. So definitely go check out. And I don't think she's an actress or an actor. Like, I think it's just literally his grandma that shows up in this movie. And in that way, it feels like he made that short film as a proof of concept for this larger feature, even though they don't, they're not a direct hit with one another, right? Like, it's like, I didn't get this from that, but she's in this movie. So it's really fascinating. So I think that's spot on, Nick. I like the idea of like, just let sort of the dominant theme be true. And you do have some of those movies out there where there isn't always a white savior. But in the big Hollywood films, I feel like that happens because population, just plain and simple. You got to have a reason for white people to show up to your black movie.
Exactly.
You just do.
No, it is what it is.
I hate to put it that way, but it just, we got to have a reason for American Fiction, great movie. There was definitely a white character in it, but he wasn't a savior, but that's a movie that I thought was really, really true to anyone who's been a writer. Like, if you're a writer, all that stuff rings true in terms of what publishing houses want you to do and what creates a book hit or hit for a book you've written, what gets you in the New York Times, but like how much of sort of pseudo intellectualism there is in that world, pseudo taste making, and where it's really just about everything else that the world's about, which is a struggle for power. There's this great line, like I think it's a Bertrand Russell line, if I'm getting his name right. He says, "We're all in a competition to be the criminal instead of the victim." Now that's highly cynical.
Yeah.
But I love that line.
He was like, no, that's not me. He doesn't know me, so that's all good. He can say what he wants to say. You don't know me.
Yeah. Well, did I get that right? Producer probably better put this in the chat, whether I got that right. It's a Bertrand Russell that said that, and do I have his name right? I think I do. Just a little bit of housekeeping from earlier in the show. Kevin Bacon and his wife live on a cozy farm in Connecticut. Those in the audience,
I was right. She just flew in for the weekend, bro. That's
there
it.
you go.
Yeah.
Just flew in for the weekend. For those of us of you have been listening to the whole episode, I paid that one off for you. So, Mike, before we leave, we ask all of our guests, we have to ask you, what does it mean for you to make it?
I mean, it's I don't even know how to describe it. I still pinch myself. It's a roller coaster of emotions, because as soon as you think like, oh my God, I'm on set directing my first movie, and it's like the best experience ever. It's like you're a kid in a candy store, but then all of a sudden your mind's like, wait a minute, but then this might be the last time I ever get to do this. No one's ever let me do this again. And so it's just a constant like battle in your head. But, so my wife constantly reminds me, she's like, just be so grateful. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. Because I'm always thinking of the next thing, of like just hustling to the next, to the next, to the next. But then like when I do stop and smell the roses, it's just like, I look back, I'm like, holy shit, like, I can't believe they trusted me with all of, like, this is insane. Like, one thing, I was just curious not too long ago. I was like, I looked up how much money of all the movies I've done, like, as an accountant, how much pretty much crossed my desk. And like collectively, those budgets were like $1.3 billion. And then like, I was like, damn, I was like, that's insane to think that like, I was a part of that in making these things, and just my name will live forever, like on The Dark Knight Rises. Like, and I'm like, that just like still gives me goosebumps to think that like I got to work with Chris Nolan. Like, to me, like that's even more exciting than like even directing my own movies. Is just the people that I got to work with, like, because was just so much fun and just such an eye opener and such a learning experience. But yeah, even if I didn't get to direct my own stuff, just the people I got to work with, it still blows my mind. Because like I just came from the country outside of Pittsburgh, like no one does movies there. Like I was just the kid running around with a camera that's like, hey, I'm gonna make movies one day. And we're like, okay, yeah, he'll get it out of his system. Like my parents told me, like they didn't know what to do with me, because like I wanted to go to college for film, and my dad was a teacher, so he talked to the guidance counselor at his school. They're like, just let him go to film school for a year. They're like, he'll get out of his system. He'll figure out what he wants to do. They're like, just don't, go too hard on him, because obviously he's not going to make it. And then, but then it's just like that thing. It's just I always want to prove everyone wrong. And it's like, no, I am going to make it. I'm going to make movies, and it's just. I can't believe I get paid to do it at the end of the day. Like, it's insane.
So would you say that if you never got to make anything again, you'd be satisfied, or would that be?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, I have gone so much further than I, like, the dream is always, direct a movie, whatever. Like, but like, I remember even when I was doing accounting, I did that for like close to 15 years, and I hated every minute of it. And I was like, I was like, what? If this is as far as I make it, like I still made it further. I live in Hollywood. I live in LA. I'm on these big movies. I was like, I at one point, like around like the 10-year mark, I kind of just like, what? Like, I'm seeing everyone else. Like, sometimes you just get stuck, and like not everyone gets a chance. And I'm grateful that I'm still, in the world of movie making. A lot of people that went to school with me for film, had to get real day jobs at some point. And it's just, it's just a reality of life. And I was fortunate enough where my real day job is still movies. Yeah, it was accounting, but like I was still doing it. So even when I don't get to direct another movie again and produce again, like the whole industry goes down. Like, I mean, I'm so grateful for what I had, and will have a million great memories with a lot of great people.
And despite
Thank you for that, man.
what they told him when he was young, Chris, he is now on a podcast called Make It. Come on.
Yeah. This is it right here. This is the cherry on top.
That's right.
He is. And what a great sort of message to all the filmmakers out there that come from small towns, listen to this podcast around the world. just keep pushing forward, keep doing it. There's an artist, R&B artist named Lucky Day, and now I know where he got his name from.
There you go.
He got it from you just watching your life, but I just don't want to put everything on luck, man. I think you have incredible perseverance, and I think you kept working, kept pushing, and you were willing to do something you didn't really love for 15 years to get to what
proved himself.
To what you really wanted to do. And so it's an exercise and an example of perseverance and of humility and of gratitude. And so that's what I'm taking from your answer. This has been fantastic. Do you have any parting words for this audience before we tell them where they can find you on social media and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say just just keep watch all the movies, watch them all, and keep, if you want to make them, just make them. Like that's what I did, and like thank God I made all those shorts. And just like a lot of people will say, hey, I'll wait for the movie to come to me. I was like, no, I'm gonna just make every week. I just made as many shorts as I could, music videos, whatever, and that really ultimately really helped. And so that's all I can tell people is just know what you want to do. Like, do the day job, pay the bills. Don't forget you have to do that. Like, a lot of people don't think they want to do that, but keep paying the bills, and then your free time, just don't stop. Just keep grinding out. And even if you don't make it, I had so much fun on those little shorts with those friends I made. Like, we still laugh about the shorts we've done, and we still watch them, and like that brings me so much joy, and that goes such a long way. So I'd say just keep at it and keep hustling.
Love that. Can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media, find you on the internet, see some of your work, reach out to you directly if you care to share that, all the stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm an open book, and so like, you can find me on Instagram at Mike Day Films. That's MIKEDAY Films. I have a website too, MikeDayFilms.com, and that where you can see like some music videos, shorts, web series, dumb stuff that I probably shouldn't have on there, still there. And then Clawfoot, that comes out. That's already out, and you can find that on any platform where you can buy or rent, like from Apple, Spectrum, AT&T, Google, Amazon. I hope everyone can check it out and enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it.
Fantastic. And when should we expect Fog of War?
Yeah, so Fog of War is due to drop in November around Veterans Day, or they're saying around Veterans Day. So I'm still not sure what the rollout for that is. That will most likely just be another VOD drop. We can just start streaming it and pay for it that way. But I just know it's November as of now. That's all they're telling me.
Nice. Well, we're excited. We're definitely going to tell all the people in this audience to go check out Clawfoot wherever you watch your movies, wherever you stream them. We will be on the lookout, as well as everyone in this audience should be on the lookout for Fog of War, starring John Cusack, coming on Veterans Day this year. So I'm super excited about that. And then Stranglehold, that's already out or coming out?
No, so that'll be sometime next year. We literally just wrapped that like 5 weeks ago. So like I'm still in PTS from that actually. but still recovering.
All right, so then we're looking out for Stranglehold, which has Justin Long in it, and just a great cast. It sounds like across the board.
Directed. Yeah, I just produced that one, and that one was directed by Clark Duke, who you might know him from like Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
So he wrote
Great,
that
hilarious movie.
Yeah,
hilarious movie. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one too. We'll all keep a lookout. And then, of course, for everyone that is listening or watching this, you probably know where to find us because you're listening and you're watching.
You're here. Yes,
you're here. Exactly. Of course, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You can find us on the web at makeitpodcast.com or at www.bonsai.film. Bonsai spelled with an S, so BONSAI.FILM. You can subscribe to our newsletter at bonsai.film/subscribe. We also have an amazing ebook that Nicholas Buggs here, my good friend, his truly, Nick Buggs wrote, and it's called Movie Money. And Movie Money is a free download. You can go get it at bonsai.film/movie money. And here's what happens. You download that and you find 42 different ways to finance your film that you may not have considered. Or there's 42 ways you may not have even thought of financing your film. They're in this ebook. So go to our website, bonsai.film/movie money to get that right away. And all it costs you is your email. I know email's a big deal these days, but we don't spam you, we don't do anything. You'll get the ebook right away as soon as you put your email in. If you want to reach out to Nick, you can find him at nick@bonsai.film. That's his email address. So you can reach out to him directly, or you can find him on Instagram at They Call Me Mr. Bugs. Or is they call me Mr. Bugs?
Yes,
Is
yeah,
that
I know
right?
you always get confused because you're like, you're saying it. So yes,
Yeah.
they call me
Mr. Bugs.
Mr. Bugs. Yeah, there you go.
And are you still you're still all over that site, right? You're still all over that,
Oh, yeah.
that channel. That
Yeah, you ping me there. I'll ping you back. That's what we do.
Yeah, he's got some filthy DMs for you to enjoy and join in on.
Where are you even going with
on
this?
Instagram.
I'm not dropping the poll like Bonsai Sam. Like
Yeah. They call me Mr. Pole.
That's right.
No, they call me Mr. Bugs on Instagram. You can find me on X at Flaming Your Heart. You're spelled U-R. So Flaming U-R Heart. Right. Yeah, as in urine heart. But you can also just search me by name, Chris Barkley, and I will come right up. I am the first Chris Barkley that comes up. I've tested this. There's another Chris Barkley that's doing pretty well. I got to say, I'm in constant competition with this guy.
Nice.
But if you do that, I will come right up and I will answer all your questions and queries like we always do. And so with that, Nick, can you please leave us with the credo?
Of course. And I have to say again, Mike, we appreciate you, man. This was great. Thank you for joining us. Again, like Chris said, it's not all luck, obviously, right? I think that there's the humility of it is awesome because of you're grateful for where you are, but year over year, you had to produce, right? You had to prove yourself. And I think that's the other message that I'm taking from it. And I think that our audience should take is that, it might be luck that gets you there, but it's skill, it's hard work, it's dedication and gratitude that keeps you there. So I appreciate you. We're going to watch your journey, keep following what you're doing, watching your films. And as we always say to our guests, you have a home here. You ever want to come back, talk about what you're doing? Hey, man, call us up. We'll make it happen.
Love it. Thanks, guys. I mean, it's been so great being here and talking with you guys. It's been a blast. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And with that, I will say to our audience, our friends, our family, our fellow filmmakers, our followers, be better, be creative, be engaged.
And thank you for listening. Nick, Mike, talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. We'll do it again.
All right. Thank you, producer Papa Bear. Thank you, intern Sam. Love you guys.
Yeah, take it easy. Bye.